What does it mean to be a pro? For example, I'm a professional freediving cameraman, which means that I get paid to film and photograph underwater unbreathled. In order to do that, I use a professional camera. But I've also shot stuff on action camera and sold that. So maybe the camera doesn't matter much. Check out the difference. Same room, same light, but I'm filming this on the Insta360 X5. You see it? The Canon has a bigger lens and a bigger sensor and can therefore naturally kind of blur out the background. But these days you can also see that in phone cameras. They can do that as well. Like the iPhone 15 Pro right there is filming this as well. And it does a similar thing. So really, camera size and sensor size doesn't matter quite as much. Here's an overview of what each of those shots look like. As you can tell, there's a difference. Even if we're not watching a video with an eye for technique, we've been inundated with so much footage that we subconsciously can tell what the production value is. And in this specific case, person in a room talking to camera. The professional camera gets the best result visually. The phone is trying to mimic that and comes in second. The action camera is not built for this and comes in third. Now this does not mean that the action camera is necessarily bad or cheap looking. What is being recorded is to an audience much more important than how it's being recorded. There are no Oscars for the best camera, only for the best cinematographers. It's like asking a chef to make a meal with budget ingredients versus a meal with top-of-the-line fresh ingredients. If the chef is good, both meals will be nice, but the one with the fresh ingredients will probably be better. So why compare an action camera to a pro camera? Well, one of the accessories that Insta360 has made for the X5 is called the Invisible Dive Case Pro. It's this thing. The fact that they've made this thing tells you an awful lot about the company. You see, Insta360 is the only company that has made housings for 360 cameras. With the first two iterations, you could still see the housing and the attachment. This is because water reflects light differently. For the third generation of their 360 camera, they'd made the invisible dive case, with which you could do that magic trick where you can see all around you and you can't see the stick attached to the camera or the housing around the camera. I've always admired them for making this housing. It's a very tricky thing to do and the underwater photography market is tiny, so I figured they didn't make any money on it. Imagine the amount of research and development costs. There's a whole team dedicated to this for selling what, a few hundred units? Maybe 1,000? So with each new generation I was happy to see that they again included the invisible dive case, even though it had some pretty big flaws. For example, it was reflective, so you could see the light of the camera reflected in the housing. The edges where those two images were combined were always much more blurry in that housing. And it was made of a type of plastic that was both very fragile and scratchy, and attracted all the hair and dust that it could, not to mention droplets, all of which would show up in your footage. But it worked, and when you protected it well and you kept it clean, you could get shots that you could never get before. And since nobody else was making housings like this, I just assumed that they'd rest on their laurels and was glad they'd even continue making these housings. But then Insta took it a step further. They must have listened to the feedback and developed a second housing for the X5, the Pro version. This thing. So what is Pro and what is so pro about it? As you can see, it's bigger than the normal case, just as my Pro camera is bigger than my action camera. That in and of itself doesn't make it pro, but it allows for better angles for light to come in, which results in fewer weird artifacts at the edges. Check out this side by side. I put my head right over the stitch line and the normal dive case has blurriness all the way around that line. The Pro deals with it much better. There are still some blotches and distortions, but it's noticeably improved. Then there are these dark cutouts, which can control reflections much better than before. You can still notice them in very sunny shots with lots of contrast, but overall they do a very good job in blocking out the light leaking through. So those are two steps that they've already taken to improve the quality of their underwater housing. Most people wouldn't notice it, but the pros do. And here's another very telling example of their attention to detail. Because this housing is quite a bit larger, it's also quite a bit more buoyant. It's like diving with a balloon. So in order to compensate for that, the housing comes with this weight, which you can easily attach to the bottom of the camera, and which balances out the buoyancy on top. It's a simple and elegant solution, and it works really well. And they even made this, the Dive Buddy. You can use it as a sort of an underwater tripod, like that. Or it's balanced out perfectly if you take some weight off, and then it just floats neutrally beside you. It's really handy. I'm thinking about the team that made this, There's a whole bunch of people who've conceived it, who designed it, who made a prototype, who then improved upon that prototype, then constructed it and brought it to market for a reasonable price. The standard housing retails for $99. The Pro housing retails for $112. That's not that much more than you pay for a housing for a GoPro, which is much more simple. As a professional, I'm used to paying much more for equipment. By underwater photography standards, this is very, very reasonable. For comparison, the only manufacturer that makes another professional housing for this camera is Nauticam, and that housing is $1,100. Yes, you get actual glass for that, and yes, it's made out of aluminum, but still, it's 10 times more expensive. Insta have also found a sort of solution for how delicate both their housings are. They now come with these neoprene pouches, which are very handy. They're a deceptively simple and elegant design that encourages easy use and protects the housings for when you're not diving with them. It's not as robust a solution as for, say, a GoPro, but it does address one of the issues I had with the previous housings. Speaking of GoPro, that seems to be a much more direct competitor than a professional camera. Both are geared more towards the action enthusiast, and like I said in my previous video discussing the X5 more in general, this X5 could very well outdo GoPro in straight up action videos type things. But then it does so much more. Take this time lapse for example. This is what the GoPro made of a recent sunrise where I live. And this is what the X5 did with that very same morning. Will Hollywood be using this camera to film its next blockbuster? Maybe not. But it is a camera that allows for unique shots and unprecedented perspectives, which some pros might want to use. And Insta360 is the only company that does this, and is improving upon the concept with each iteration, and comes out with innovations that show that they have great eye for detail. That makes them the real pros, if you ask me.